Hi everybody, how you guys doing? We are gonna have a talk about songwriting and how it is to be a writer for obviously big artists like Rihanna and others. So please, I hope you enjoy this talk with Candice Pillay.
Hi everyone, thank you for being here. I'm going to introduce myself real quick. My name is Luna, I'm French, based in London. I'm a music journalist, DJ, and I do digital marketing for Warner Records. And I'm very happy to be with Candice today, who's going to tell us
Luna.
about songwriting.
Ooh, I'm loud. Okay, this is the mic. This is definitely my mic. Hi.
Hey, so I thought we'd start by going back to the very beginning. What was it like growing up in South Africa? Did you always want to sing and write songs? Was music a big part of your life? Yeah, just take us back to the start.
Yes, I'm actually born and raised in South Africa, and I grew up in South Africa and always wanted to do music. I've been singing since I was about 7 years old. We kind of grew up in music. My dad and mom were both musicians, and it started. I started really young. And ended up in Los Angeles, California. It's been a long journey. I went from actually South Africa to the East Coast of, like to New York. I lived in New York, and then I ended up in LA, and just 2 bags, $200 probably, and just tried to figure it out. And so it's been a long time, but
Yeah, how did the hustle start? How did you get your career going?
It's a funny story, but I've always been an artist. I've always been a singer. I used to sing in bands back home and stuff. And when I got to LA, I didn't know anyone. I just really, this is a true story, would walk up and down Sunset Boulevard and go into the clubs and say, listen, do you need someone to sing in your club? And I got a gig singing in this club, and it was actually one of the first nights. I was singing covers at the time. I didn't even have any songs. I didn't know how to write songs or what that meant. And I met a producer that was like, listen, you should do some songs for yourself. And he came up to me and was like, I know a producer. He introduced me to him. And I started making music. And from there, it was kind of fast-paced from that point. I started to try to learn how to record. I was recording in a closet, in someone's closet. And I started learning the process of recording. And I would go up to the radio stations in LA and just stand outside the radio stations and be like, hey, can I sing a jingle or can I do something for your radio station? And I got to learn a bunch of stuff about how the LA radio was working, and I met all the DJs, got really cool with the DJs, and I started doing songs for their mixes in between. They have a drive time mix at 7, and my songs would play on there. Long story short, I was found by this producer that signed me, and I went to Atlanta to work with him. And that's kind of where my career started, because he signed me as an artist, and he was like, listen, you need some songs.
Who's that?
This was Bangladesh. At the time, he
great.
had amazing hit records. He did A Milli for Lil Wayne and Diva for Beyonce. Great producer. So I signed with him, and I was in Atlanta, and he was like, well, you need to do your own songs. You need to figure this out. So I sat in this room, and I started figuring out what writing was about. And it just turned out that one of the first songs that I wrote, it was supposed to be for my album. And someone came in, everyone was kind of coming in and checking out all the stuff that I was doing. And it just turns out that Rihanna's manager came in to listen to some of the stuff. And he was like, this is an amazing song. You should think about giving this to Rihanna for her album. She would love this. And I was like, no way. Why would I give this away? This is my song. I didn't understand what it meant. And so people were like, well, it's a good idea. You should think about doing that. You could probably write another song. And I was like, I don't even know how I wrote this song. It was really, I was new in even figuring out what that meant. So it ended up that my song did get placed on an album, and my life completely changed.
What song was that?
That was actually Cockiness, the Cockiness record that was on the Talk That Talk album. It just happened. And when I flew back to LA from Atlanta, my phone was just ringing off the hook with just random people that I didn't even, they were like, oh, we want you to write for us. And this is a very funny story, I have to say. I was in the grocery store, and I get a call on my phone, and it's a girl that's like, hi, this is Christina Aguilera, and I would really like you to write on my album. And I hung up. I was like, this is a joke. this is not Christina Aguilera right now on my phone. And then they called back and they was like, that's really Christina, and you hung up on her. And I ended up meeting Christina and working with her for about 6 months on her album. We wrote 8 songs together. That happened right after the Rihanna song. So I had to kind of change my perspective about me being an artist, put that on hold and really just delve into writing. And because I worked with Christina for so long, I had to like really figure out what it was to be a songwriter. And then it went from there.
Amazing. And how about Dr. Dre? How did you meet him?
I feel like in this world, if you're meant to do something, there's nothing you can really do about it. It's gonna happen. And I just randomly met Dr. Dre just in the studio. I know people are like, where's the studio? Can we go there? But I was actually at his studio and he was on vacation, I remember. And they were looking for stuff for Straight Outta Compton because the movie was, almost done and they were finishing up the soundtrack. And I went over and Dre wasn't there, but I met one of his artists, Mez, who I loved. He's amazing. So I connected with him and I was like, listen, let's make some music. So I turned up at the studio and the first person that I saw was Dre. And I've met like most of my heroes, but meeting Dre for me was one of the highlights of my life because he's just an amazing person and I'm so inspired by him. In South Africa, I grew up on hip hop and his hip hop. So yeah, I walked in and he's standing there and he says, where do you come from? And I'm like, wow.
Well.
I really didn't know what to say, but I got to, the first night that I met Dre, he was in a session and he told me, he was like, listen, I heard you have some great music and I would love to hear some of it if you have the time. And I said, Dre, I will wait here till the sun comes up if you're gonna listen to my music. I would love that. Just an opportunity to have him hear it. So when he was done, it was like 15 minutes, he came back out, we went back into the studio. I remember we were in his room and he has these amazing speakers from heaven, it's crazy, it's so loud. You need earplugs on earplugs for those speakers. And he asked me to play a song and I was so stressed out because I didn't know what the song was gonna be. I put a song on and he put his hands down on the console, he listened, and I was like, please like it. And then he turns around and he's like, I love that. He was like, can you play another one? And so I played him another, and then right there he was like, do you want to make a song tonight? Would you like to? And it was 3 a.m. And I was like, hell yeah. So we got on the mic. Literally the day I met Dr. Dre, I got in the studio with him on the mic. It was a little nerve-wracking because I had to freestyle. And when you're freestyling for Dr. Dre, it's a little stressful.
To say the least.
And it's just you kind of can't doubt yourself. You have to trust yourself. So he told me he's like, I'm actually working on this project called Straight Outta Compton. It's going to be this movie, and we're looking to make some music, and I would love to work with you on it. And ever since we worked together for a year after that, and he mentored me in a bunch of stuff and just showed me so much that I didn't know.
Yeah, can you tell me a bit more about that? Because I've read on social media that you said working with Dre was a turning point in your career. How exactly?
I mean, he's just the father of everything music related. I think the thing I loved about Dre so much is that Dre is a quintessential producer. He is in love with the process of creating and developing the artist. He would tell me, he would be like, I don't really care to be on stage. And although we love his music and we love seeing him do that, he loves just to have us be the best artists that we can be. So it took some time, but I started writing with him, and the way his process of getting vocals and getting us out of our head and getting us to feel the music, his mixing process is incredible. His sonics, he's just so particular about every single thing. It really made me want to be the best that I could be in everything I do, music-wise, and keep my level as high as possible.
Great. And how was the vibe in the studio when you were working on the Compton soundtrack?
I mean, the first night was crazy because it was just me and Dr. Dre, who's a legend. But then I kind of got to know him a little better and we became friends, and then we started working with the whole team. It was really great because the Aftermath team is pretty big. And we would be writing with about 10 of his artists, all of us together. It was always a collaborative process. So again, I might have been the only female, but it took me a while to get to them to understand that I can rap too, and I can write some good rap. But eventually, like, we all just flowed, and we worked on that album. Everyone would help on every song. So artists would come in, like Snoop Dogg would come in, Ice Cube was there, Corrupt, Kendrick was always there, Anderson .Paak, that's when he started his career. We wrote a lot of the stuff together. And yeah, Compton was really, Dre wanted it to be for the young people, so he had a lot of young energy in the room, and it showed. It was a brilliant album.
And have you noticed one or several qualities that these top tier artists share?
Just this, they strive for perfection, and especially Dre. I mean, we all know how long we waited for Detox. He doesn't just let things go. Like, he really cares about every piece of art that he puts out, and it's art. And I mean, I feel like all artists are
dedicated.
Yeah, they're dedicated. But with Dre, it's on a level where he's like, everything he puts out, he wants it to be a masterpiece. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And for you, how do you go about writing melodies? Do you sing or hum? Do you play an instrument?
Yeah, actually, I play a little bit of guitar and keys. I like to write all of my songs on guitar, mostly, just because of the rhythmic value of that. It's different with rap, because with rap, I do write tracks, and it's more about the drums, and it's more about, the beat. But recently, I've been doing lots of pop music. So that's basically all written on guitar first. I do my chords first. I'm very, very particular. I like to do chords first and get some good chords that I love and loop them. And then I'm very, very strong into my melodies. Like, I like my melodies to be laid first, and I'm very picky on melodies. I'll lay like 10 takes of melodies. After I lay my melodies, I arrange the melodies, and then I'll spend time on lyrics. Lyrics are kind of the last thing. It takes a little more time. It takes a little more thought.
Yeah, of course. And what's usually the process when you're called to collaborate on a song? Are you sent a beat? Do you go in the studio with specific producers, or do you go and work on your own?
It's so many different ways. It just depends on who I'm writing for. You can pitch a song. Like, I can write something that I feel is for someone, and then pitch it to an A&R, to a label. Or I mostly know a lot of artists, so I just call them and say, hey, I have an idea for you, or let's get together. When I'm writing with an artist, it's my favorite thing in the world, because I can feel their energy, their vibe. I can listen to them, their stories. I love hearing stories and then making it into something. So, yeah, it just really depends on the artist, if they care to be in the process. Rihanna was a little different, because Rihanna, she just took a song that was already kind of written, and then she went in, made sure she loved all the lyrics. She changed a couple things, and it was actually great, because I sent her the demo, and my voice is actually really close to Rihanna's voice. I'm South African, she's Bayesian. The accents were kind of similar. So she kept me on the entire song. So I'm singing underneath her, and she did like her vocals, like her top line on. It sounded great though. So with Rihanna, she's just really about like a great song that suits her, and she knows what's gonna work for her, because she's got tons of hits.
Yeah, of course.
And then some artists like to be involved.
Yeah. And what's the song you're proudest of?
Probably one you guys have never heard before, because it's actually, I've written a lot of stuff for myself that is going to be released very soon. So there's one that I really, really love called Song of Solomon that's coming out really soon. And that is one of my favorite songs I've ever written.
Right, and one thing I was really keen to ask you about is, you're often the only woman in a room of highly respected, powerful men. What does that feel like? Have you ever been in a position where you felt like you were not taken seriously and had to prove yourself?
I feel like I don't give anyone an opportunity not to take me seriously. I feel like if you take yourself seriously, no one, they're gonna just follow suit. So I've never really had a problem with anyone disrespecting me or making me feel not valued. But then again, I don't give them a chance. I'm from Africa. I don't mess around. So no, it's been okay. I mean, it's challenging. There's a little tiny things that I can see, but I just kind of bypass it. And I feel like the talent shows for everything. Like if you're going to come in there and you can do your job, they can't say anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And things have changed in the last 5 years in terms of gender politics. Do you feel that? Like, do you feel like something has changed since you started your career in the conversations being had or in how people interact with you?
Yeah, it's a woman a badass right now. They're just doing so many things, and I work with so many women in music. I feel like it's opening up so many doors, within the music industry, be it A&Rs or record execs, to writers, to musicians. We have amazing female producers now, to female engineers. It's just, again, the talent is speaking for itself.
For
so
sure.
It's definitely been much better.
Good. I'm really glad to hear. What advice would you give to aspiring singers, songwriters, producers, engineers, female particularly?
It's a little cliche, but it's true. I feel like you just really need to go after anything that you feel like you want, and it can happen. I come from a really, really small, tiny, on the map part of South Africa. I grew up, with not much, but I never give up, and I wouldn't even expect to be here in Cannes. It's amazing. I'm in the south of France. This is crazy. But yeah, just if you believe in yourself, and it again sounds cliche, and if you feel like you have something and it's inside you to sing or to write or to do that, you should just do it. And if it's meant to be, it will happen,
Right.
And hard work also pays off.
That's
definitely.
true. And what would you say are the top qualities required to be a good songwriter?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if that's a question I can really answer, because I feel like anyone can really write a song. If it's good or not, it really depends on the person that's listening to it.
Yeah.
It might appeal to someone, you know what I mean? So can you ask me that again? You said, what are the top qualities?
Top qualities in a good songwriter? Or in a,
I mean,
yeah.
like I said, anyone can write something. It's about who's gonna enjoy it, and if someone likes your song, that's a song.
Great. And how involved are you in the business aspect of your job?
I'm really involved. I do pretty much everything with my career. With my artistry, I'm writing, I'm doing my marketing, I do some of my videos, I do creative stuff, I do my video treatments, and then with my writing, it's an easier job for me because people kind of know me now, so people just call me, and I'm running every part of my business right now, the writing and the artistry. It's a lot. But it's amazing. It's what I've wanted to do all my life, so I enjoy it.
And you said you don't have a manager right now.
No, I actually have people that I know so many people in the industry just from working with so many different types of people. So I kind of have like an amazing PR lady, amazing publicist, just great people in the industry, and people just call me. A&Rs call me, people in labels know me. So at the moment, I don't have a manager. I am doing a lot with my artist project right now, so I have help, but I don't know, I feel like with the whole management thing, it's really a partnership with me, because I'm kind of hands-on to the point where I'm kind of unmanageable sometimes, people say, because I want to do everything, but I definitely have a team. I have a producer that I work with that I love. I have a couple producers.
That's Dem Joins.
Actually, I work with a guy named Edgar Vargas, who's amazing. Another guy named Radio, who I do different types of things. I just developed a boy band recently that did great. I did that with Radio.
What are they called?
They're called Why Don't We?
Why Don't We?
I actually developed them for like 2 years before they signed their deal, and I've written almost 30, 45 records for them. And it's amazing to me. I've kind of gone from the point where it's great to write a song for someone that's huge. Like, I feel like writing a song for Taylor Swift who's already Taylor Swift, it's kind of like a little easier because she's famous already. But when you take something from the ground up and you build it up on your own and it becomes something amazing, like they're selling out the Microsoft Theater in LA and they're touring the world. They're in Japan. They were just in Japan. And I made some of those songs on my bed. And I'm hearing these little girls sing the song. To me, it's even more...
It's more gratifying.
It is.
Because you've made those songs.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's really was something we believed in. So I've been doing grassroots type stuff like that and developing young talent. There's so much of it out there. So working on a lot of indie projects right now.
Yeah. My next question was actually, what are you working on at the moment? What can we expect from you in a few months?
Tons of stuff. I develop a lot of artists. And in my company has kind of grown now because I'm very involved in like fashion and staging and not really the choreography part, but the look of it and the imaging. So I'm helping artists with imaging and actually figuring out, like I'm the type of writer that, I hate when people say just write a hit song. I like to connect to that artist and see what he or she is about and make it personal. So I'm helping them with creation and development, developing a couple young artists all over the world. We're doing stuff in England and in LA. My DM is full of kids that want to sing. It's insane. A lot of these kids are super talented, aspiring producers, musicians, singers, songwriters. I've now become kind of like, I'm in the business of young adults just making music. So I'm doing that. My album comes out really soon, so I'm going to be releasing some music. I'm super excited about that. And just writing I'm actually working on some Latin stuff.
Cool.
There's some stuff I was working on recently for Camila Cabello and J-Lo. So I'm doing Latin stuff and also some Korean stuff. So I'm kind of branching out. I love writing with different languages because I don't have to do much. I just have to do the melodies. They put the words in. But to me, the melody is the most important things, and the groove of it. So I'm trying to go all over the world and make music everywhere.
Great. My final question would be, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Do you have any particular aspirations or goals?
Chilling
producers?
on the beach in Cannes. Cannes, I say Cannes. Chilling over here, I want to live here. I really want to be retired in 10 years. Can I be retired? I don't know. My business is growing rapidly, and I'm so excited about that. I just always want to make music. It makes me so happy. It does not feel like a job. And if I can make music for the rest of my life, I'll just be happy. I'm easy to please. Maybe I can make songs like on the beach in Cannes. I just want to live here, though.
That sounds like a plan. Thank you so much, Candice.
Thank you,
This was really
Luna.
great to talk to you. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thanks, guys.